I was born and raised among the trees, but every time cherry season returns, my heart stirs like a child seeing snow for the first time. When those ripe red fruits begin to appear on the branches, that's also when the whole village, the whole farm, enters the season. A season of hard work, a season full of life, a season brimming with hope. Some call cherries the sweet jewels of summer, but to me, they are the reward of countless days of tending, nurturing, watching the dew and measuring the sun. They are a dream, ripening red in the palm of my hand. Each cherry tree planted is a promise made to the land. We choose loose, well-drained soil, measure the pH, add organic compost, and dig holes nearly 2 feet deep. Spacing must be exact, 13 to 20 feet between trees depending on the variety, to give the branches room to stretch and catch the sunlight. Each sapling is carefully placed into its hole, the soil gently pressed down, and then comes the first watering, as if pouring hope into the earth. Cherries are not easygoing. They need winters cold enough and spring just moist enough. Every year, I watch the cold spells closely, hoping for enough chill so the trees can rest, then bloom right on time. In the early months, we water evenly, not too much, not too little, to keep young roots from drowning. Once mature, the trees are only watered during dry, sunny spells. For the first fertilizing, I spread nitrogen around the base to help the buds push strong, feeding branches and leaves. By late winter, I take the shears and prune the weak limbs, opening the canopy. So when spring arrives, the buds have enough light to bloom freely. By late winter, once the trees have been neatly pruned, there's only one thing I wait for: the blossoms. And then, around late March or early April, the orchard turns white. Cherry blossoms bloom in full, like a thin blanket of snow draped over bare branches. Delicate, sheer, pure. Standing in the orchard then, I feel as if I've stepped into a dream. But that's also when the worry begins. Just one late frost or a sudden strong wind could shake all the petals to the ground and take the whole season with them. So we bring in the bees early. Hives are placed around the orchard so that every blossom has a friend to help it bear fruit. I watch the bees working diligently, and in my mind, I can already see the flowers becoming fruit. Cherry blossoms last only a few days. Then, they quietly fall, making way for tiny, pale green fruits, like early season pearls. Some people think, once the flowers bloom, the job is done. But for me, that's when the real challenge begins. Cherries require cross-pollination. No bees, no fruit. So during blossom season, I place hives between the rows of trees. By day, the orchard hums with buzzing wings. By night, only the sound of wind and silent hopes remain. Within a few days, petals start to fall. Tiny green specks, no bigger than a pinhead, begin to emerge on the branches, the first signs of cherry fruit taking shape. I watch and quietly count in my mind, how much will set this year? This stage requires close attention. Too much sun, and the young fruit burns. Too much rain, and diseases spread. Strong winds, and branches bend, fruit drops. I walk each row, parting the leaves, inspecting every cluster, thinning out the overloaded ones. Because if the tree bears too many, it weakens. The cherries stay small, with thin skins that bruise easily. This is the fruit nurturing stage. From those fragile green beads to plump, ruby red gems, it's a quiet, watchful journey of care. When the cherries start turning bright red, that's when the whole orchard enters harvest season. We rise early, strap on baskets, carry ladders, and head out in small groups. Each person takes a tree, a row. Laughter and chatter fill the air. You can't rush cherry picking. You have to hold the stem, twist gently, keeping both the stem and the delicate skin intact. Underripe fruit, leave it. Bruised ones, set them aside. Because every fresh cherry is a promise to someone far away, across the ocean. Each time I climb a ladder, one hand steadying the branch, the other placing fruit into the basket, I feel like I'm doing the most meaningful work of my life. Yes, it's hard work, but the soft sound of cherries dropping into a basket, or the smile of a fellow picker nearby, makes it all feel worth it. Some export shipments require only hand-picked cherries, because that's the only way to ensure each fruit stays perfectly intact. Small orchards are harvested by hand, but in those that stretch over hectares, machines are essential. The harvester moves row by row, extending its shaking arm to the trunk. With a single strong shake, clusters of ripe cherries rain down like a crimson shower. Tarps, or collection chutes, are spread below in advance. The fruit drops, then travels along conveyors into storage bins. Watching the cherries pour down, I feel both joy and worry. Joy for the speed, worry about bruising or hitting unripe fruit. That's why timing is critical. We only shake when the cherries are fully red and firm. Some machines shake individual branches, others the entire tree, depending on the variety and ripeness. These machines today are incredibly advanced, equipped with cameras and sensors. They detect ripe fruit and adjust the shaking force. Not too hard, not too soft. In just a few hours, the whole orchard is filled with bins of fresh cherries, ready for transport to the cold storage station. Machines can't replace human hands, but used at the right time, in the right place, they help us go further and harvest the season at its very best. Once the cherries are picked, they must move immediately. Cherries wait for no one. We load each bin onto trucks and head straight to the cooling station. But it's not just about being cold. It has to be the right temperature, the right process. There, the cherries enter a hydro-cooling system. Cold water flows around each fruit, rapidly pulling down the internal temperature. I watch the bright red cherries soaking in that cool stream, and I finally breathe a little easier. Success or failure often depends on this stage. From the cooling station, the cherries are transferred to refrigerated trucks. The temperature is kept just below zero, but never frozen. For every long-distance shipment, we monitor every route, every temperature sensor, because just a few degrees off, and the cherries might soften, crack, or lose their color. There are nights I stay up entirely, just to make sure that shipment is still alive on the road. Because cherries are more than fruit. They're the honor of a farmer. When the cold trucks arrive at the factory, the journey is only just beginning. The cherries are placed into a water tank once more, to both clean them and ease the temperature shock after transport. Watching the fruit float gently on the surface, I'm reminded of my own children after a bath. Fresh, clean, and smooth. Then, each cherry travels down a conveyor belt, where dozens of electronic eyes inspect every detail. Is the color even? Is the size right? Any scratches, bruises, or missing stems? The cherries that pass are sent to the packing area. There, workers place each fruit into trays and boxes, like mothers carefully packing a school bag for a child's first day of class. Every box is sealed with precise temperature and humidity control to keep the cherries fresh as long as possible. And the ones that don't make the cut, they're not thrown away. They wait for the juice line, or to be made into jam, or canned. Every cherry, even if not perfect, has a place in this journey. And it brings me joy, knowing that the effort in the orchard is honored right to the very end. When I see crates of cherries carefully packed, labeled, and ready for export, I'm taken back to the days I planted each tree, one by one. Every cherry that reaches the hands of a consumer doesn't just carry sweetness. It carries days of sun and wind, and the care of every hand that nurtured, harvested, and sorted it. I've lived with cherries for nearly half my life, and even now, I still feel proud that from my small piece of land, cherries have traveled far, reaching distant continents. There are nights I come home late, watch a foreign commercial, and spot a box of cherries bearing our farm's code. I just sit there, silent, speechless. Growing cherries, for me, isn't just farming. It's a way of life, with its hardships, its joys, its tears, and moments when I felt like giving up. But then, with every new season, the trees bloom and bear fruit, as if to remind me, as long as there's land beneath my feet and strength in my hands, there's still hope. If you've journeyed with me all the way to this point, then I believe you too can see that cherries are more than just fruit. They're a journey, a labor of love, a vibrant season told through every bright red berry. If you found this video meaningful, hit like to let me know that I'm not walking this journey alone. And if you'd like to keep exploring other seasons, cotton, mango, milk, corn, then subscribe to AgriNext 365 so that whenever a new video is released, you'll be the first to come along. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. See you again in the next journey.